assign homework that does not have a grade attached to it?
I do that, but not in the practical projects. Every practical project that the students do is for marks, but we do have some theory-related things, assignments and things that they would do and present in class, for example, that are not for marks. They're checked off. The students receive an evaluation form from me at the beginning of the year saying this is where your marks are being generated from, and you'll see that there's a few things on here that we'll be doing that just rate a check mark. They don't get rated for marks. So, but it's a really common question. You know, why I developed that evaluation form to hand out on the first day to begin with was that constant question: will this be for marks? Is this on the final? How much is this worth? And so by giving that up front, it sort of eliminates a lot of that discussion throughout the course, I think. I'm a big believer in people will happily do something if they realize what the value is in it. And the fact in our trades classes that we spend a lot of time developing practical skills as well, I really want to make sure that that's what they're getting evaluated on for the most part. And we do have lots of theory things we do as well and so on, but not all of them for marks for sure. So.
That's an example of something you would do not for marks.
Sure. We have a machine called a jointer which has replaceable cutter heads in it, and I get them to pair up and actually replace a set in the jointer, and so it's just their job to take the old ones out, put the new ones in, set it up. I go by, see if it's okay, and check it off, that sort of thing. Yeah.
In the classes, I generally encourage them to try to do other bits of work, you know, that aren't maybe assigned or have marks assigned to them. But generally, I don't assign work that doesn't have a mark attached to it, and mainly because I think motivation theory is going to indicate that if there's no payoff to them in terms of marks to do something, then they're less likely to do it. So if I want them to do something and I view that it's important in the learning process, then I'll assign a mark to it. It may be very, very low, but there's some benefit to them. But for those who want to pursue a topic more fully or do some work on their own, absolutely, I'll provide them with that kind of information, but it's up to them to do it.
Yes, absolutely. We talked about this, and we both do a lot of reflective practice for the students. But with reflection, people are really telling you what's happening for them and where they've gotten to, and there is no end goal. And so as long as they've actually reflected, I don't actually need to assign a mark to that.
What would that look like?
What would reflective practice be? For example, it might be a series of questions that they write about that evening, or what changed for you? What can you do now that you couldn't do at the beginning of the week? How do you feel about this? What materials make you feel angry? What materials do you find you're naturally drawn to? So trying to also validate emotions in the learning process, things like that.
And then do you read it and mark it and hand it?
I read it and comment on it, but comment as kind of a peer, a person who's also trying to learn about the world. And so I might say, yeah, I find a lecture can make me really impatient and angry too, so I'm glad you told me that was your response to my lecture, or something like that.
Yeah, we did have this conversation. There is an assignment I give in the holistic course. It's called a learning summary, and I do give it marks because the course needs a mark, which if I had my way it wouldn't, but anyway it does because it's a university transfer course. But the students reflect on the learning that occurred for them, and it's 3 pages long and whatever, and they get the mark. The only time they might not, and it's only happened once, is if they don't put any effort and they maybe just do 2 sentences. But generally it's amazing what they come up with, and so I just give them the 10 or 15 marks, whatever it is, and I don't have any criteria other than they go through the process of reflecting on their learning. Other than readings to come to class prepared to discuss, that would be most of the homework. Yeah.
Especially with language, students may have a particular skill that they're not so great at, and so I might assign work for them, for that particular student, and not attach any mark to it.